Hello, this is Photography Gamer, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing LA Noire for the PS4. LA Noire is a detective adventure game developed by Team Bondi. You play as Cole Phelps, a war veteran who now works for the Los Angeles Police Department. Cole has to solve a variety of cases in 1940s LA. So what's it like to play? Well, in terms of controls, in some ways it's a throwback to the point and click genre as you methodically investigate crime scenes and examine evidence. During your investigations, you'll be driving around LA, visiting points of interest, and from time to time getting involved in cover-based shootouts. The game is broken down into cases that you have to close in order to progress. How you go about closing these cases though, that's up to you. What I mean is, you can be very thorough, scour the crime scene, follow every lead, every dialogue option like a real pro. Or you can just skim over the crime scene and try and strong arm a suspect into the interrogation room. Whether they're the true culprit or not, the choice is yours.
I'm having a hard time believing that, young lady. Do you want to be taken to a police cell?
You're hardly any older than me. Don't you dare talk to me that way.
A man is dead, Miss Scaletta, and it's a criminal offense to lie to a police officer. I ought to take you downtown.
As your clearances pile up, you'll climb the corporate ladder and be tasked with high-profile cases that become ever more complex. Thankfully, you've got a trusty notebook where you can review all your key findings, such as your clues, the evidence, locations, or interested suspects, witnesses, etc. LA Noire is at its best in these crime scene investigations, with the driving and combat being a bit of an afterthought that just kind of felt like you were filling time. It's that slow, methodical process of rummaging around the scene, inspecting the victim, looking for clues, interviewing the witnesses, and that really does bring it all to life. Closing the case isn't always straightforward and it requires you to take your time, read key information in your notebook and also observe the suspect's facial expressions. The facial animations, they're pretty good on the whole and you're supposed to be able to acknowledge them whether they look a bit shifty or not. Like, do you trust them? Are they lying? Are they telling the truth? I mean, at least in theory that's the idea. I obviously should never, ever be an interrogator.
You fasting for Yom Kippur, Mr. Kalu?
Yeah, let's change the subject, you going motherfucker. How about baseball?
You're not denying you're a Jew, Mr. Kalu.
This is America. It's not Germany. It's not a crime.
Some people don't like Jews, Mr. Kalu.
Yeah, and I guess you're one of them.
You disappoint me, Cole Phelps. Get back in there and raise some lumps, boy! I need a confession!
You deny owning a Browning pistol, serial number 01138.
I owned a gun, yes, but it was stolen in a burglary a couple years ago. You can't prove I used my gun on Gage. Gage was an asshole, but his death wasn't down to me.
You disappoint me, Cole Phelps. Get back in there and raise some lumps, boy! I need a confession!
It's these interviews that really do add a nice crescendo to the cases as you sit in a small room with a suspect and you try and trip them up once you've observed the evidence and you try and, get them to fall on their face. But eventually you will find a way to back them into a corner, whether it be through intelligence or using your intuition or just blind luck like me. Or again, another tactic, just shout at everyone, shout at them.
He walks straight into the path of an oncoming car.
You expect me to believe that, Lorna. It's all very convenient.
You're a two-time loser. If you don't give me something, I'm gonna ask the DA for the maximum. You're looking at 10 years, Belasco. Kiss your youth goodbye. Gabriel's been in trouble before. He left you here alone to answer for him, and you expect me to believe that his motive was honor?
Please don't yell at me.
So yeah, for investigating crimes it is top notch, but I would say that Cole Phelps, the lead character, is a bit of a dick and quite unlikable and a bit of a job's worth. I've worked with people like this before. In terms of the game world, well, you'll be cruising around downtown LA going from address to address as the case leads you down different pathways. The driving aspect is okay, but it's kind of, it does become a chore when you've got to drive 10 minutes to get from A to B. There's no fast travel really. On these long drives, you might pick up a radio signal. This is where you get a little short mini missions that you can kind of diverge into. They're not great. They're just sort of like very mini side activities. So on the whole, it's a very interesting crime investigation experience with a bit of driving and combat thrown in for good measure. But none of the latter stuff really felt that important in the grand scheme of things. It's really about investigation, being a detective. In terms of visuals, the facial animations are some of the most expressive I've ever seen, but the body language I would say could be quite wooden, especially when you look at the difference between the faces and the bodies. It doesn't have a kind of parity.
Please hurry. My husband might be injured.
The city looks nice enough, but it does show its age, quite basic in terms of detail, in terms of texture, etc. The game does feature a photo mode, but it's truly awful. Not user-friendly at all, really just not thought out. I don't even know why it's in there. I tried to take pictures and I just thought, I took two and I was like, no thanks, done. In terms of sound, the in-game music is excellent, well suited to the era, in particular the main theme. This is a wonderful piece of music. I've listened to it many times. And the actual main scoring soundtrack, like I've listened to it on Spotify, God, so many times. But the main theme in this game, absolutely amazing piece of music. Also, voice acting is stellar. The actors are very good. The writing is very good. The voice acting delivery, the direction is good. You know, it's such a filmic experience. Beautifully done.
I hear you're quite the climber, a man of initiative. How would you like a chance at smiting this man with the sword of justice? Then let me have a word with the chief of police, young folks. The department needs heroes. A shining, honest face the public can admire. I applaud a man with your talent for unwavering justice. I need a confession!
Okay, good and bad points. The good ones. The crime scene investigations are in-depth, intelligent and captivating. The characters are well acted, well written and believable. It's got an interesting, overarching story. The interview interrogations are challenging and quite amusing at times, and the music is truly wonderful. Bad points: the cover-based combat isn't great, driving is a bit of a drag, the lead character is really unlikable, and it does take a while to get into the more interesting cases. So, what is the verdict? LA Noire is an intelligent and captivating game that makes you feel like a real detective. The slow and methodical approach to crime solving is an acquired taste, but one that can be immensely satisfying once you get to grips with it. The thing that I really enjoyed about it was the believable and lifelike characters. They felt like real people and spoke like real people.
What kind of car was it?
A dark red Lincoln Continental.
It's pretty dark, Miss Perry. You sure about the car?
Of course I'm sure. My Uncle Bernie has one just like it back in Topeka.
It's that level of excellence in the writing that immersed me into the 1940s LA as I tried to uncover all manner of criminal activities. The way you've got to find evidence, link evidence to suspects and interrogate them in the correct way to get a conviction is unlike any other game I've played. Yes, the combat is a bit and the driving is, oh, yawn, goodbye. You know, they're just interludes that I don't really think do a great deal for the game. But those things aside, LA Noire is a wonderful example of how games can be written and acted in an adult and intellectual way without being some dumbed down rubbish for kids. Bravo to the writing team, a very interesting game, lots to offer, and one that I would really recommend for people who always have been a bit of a budding detective. If you think you're Columbo, but you don't want to wear the jacket, give this one a go.
Do you know the victim?
Yeah, Lester Patterson. He's a regular here, or he was.
Why do I get the feeling you're holding out on me?
So my score for LA Noire is 8.5 out of 10. Okay, that was the review. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, or even become a patron to support the channel. This is Photography Gamer, signing off. Thank you.
Didn't I ask for a lawyer? Shouldn't you be on the phone, officer?